Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for this Education Transformation 2020 presentation, Virtual Classrooms and Videos Equals Winning Combination. My name is Hannah Johnson and I'm an educational course representative here at Hawks Learning. Our speaker today is Dr. Shawna Hudson, a professor at Iowa Wesleyan University. Dr. Shawna Hudson is a veteran of education, having served as a teacher, principal, and teacher trainer for over 25 years. She's an advocate for education as a form of social justice and passionate about serving students and making courses equitable and accessible. Her love of technology is only outdone by her love for people who want to learn new skills. We are excited that Dr. Hudson is here to share her experience and insight with us today. We do have quite a large audience and we will do our best to get to as many questions as possible. Catherine Schaefer of Hawks, who is also an educational courseware representative, will be joining us in the background of the webinar today. She is here to help answer questions throughout the webinar, so please be sure to enter those into the Q&A as we go. She will write back to you if you have those questions, and then if you have questions for Dr. Hudson, we'll save those for the end of the presentation. On that note, I'll hand it over to you, Dr. Hudson.
Thank you, Hannah. It's great to be presenting for Hawks Learning today. As Hannah said, I'm Shawna Hudson, Professor of Education at Iowa Wesleyan, and today I plan to share with you how to use videos in your course. But first, let me tell you a little bit about how I started using videos. So I was sitting at my desk, looking at yet another email from a student who had missed class and wanted an update on what she had missed. And of course, that's really important. And so I just thought to myself, oh my goodness, I spend so much time typing emails that I will never use again. And so I started looking at what is there? How can I make this easier? And that's when I discovered what I'm going to share with you today. And since that time, I've started using it not only for things that would have been emails, but now I use it in my hybrid, my online, and even some in my face-to-face courses as well. So today we're going to discuss the virtual classroom and videos, the winning combination. So I want us to look at just 3 essential questions today. In what ways can videos help my courses become equitable and accessible? What are some practical uses of videos in my courses? And how can I make videos and be confident that they will be shareable and viewable? So the first essential question, how can videos help my course be equitable and accessible? Here at Iowa Wesleyan, we've spent a lot of time figuring out how can we create courses that are accessible and equitable. Now, by accessible and equitable I mean fair and impartial, reasonable. By accessible, I mean capable of being used and seen, being within reach for all students, and attainable. So how can videos, and I'll show you some examples here in just a few slides, but how can that help your courses be equitable and accessible? Well, there are several ways. One is that using videos support various learners of levels of readiness and engagement. So I don't know about you, but when COVID-19 hit and we switched very quickly into online learning, I had students who became disengaged. They hadn't signed up for online learning. That's not what they wanted. And so I discovered that when I used videos regularly, short, I'm talking 1 to 3 minute clips, they would watch those. Now that didn't mean they always did the work, but they would watch those videos and I could keep track of the views and I could tell if they were watching them or not. So I knew I was at least keeping in touch with them. You may also have students of various levels of readiness in your college courses. And when we go to online and hybrid learning, there's a huge amount of reading and writing in addition to what's in a typical classroom. And students may just simply not be ready for that. And so the use of videos can decrease the amount of reading and help those students who are less ready for the amount of reading and writing. Another part of being accessible is that what I'm going to show you today is viewable on any device, including a phone. Now, I've been a college professor and been in education for a long time, but I was very surprised to hear that many of my students were sitting in parking lots using Wi-Fi from surrounding buildings in order to complete my course on their phone. That would definitely be an issue. And so I really was thankful that I had this extension and that I knew how to quickly make videos so that I could explain things versus them trying to scroll through their phone, which makes it very difficult. Even if you have the Canvas app, let's say, that still would be very difficult. Videos also really increase the personal factor. You know, part of being successful in an online course is making sure that you're present. And there's no easier way than if they hear your voice or see your face. And so these videos I'm going to show you can really increase that personal factor. It also allows for explanation and demonstration. You know, sometimes we think that we're really good at writing what it is that we want students to do. And then I'm sure you've had the experience where you get something completely different than what you thought you were going to have. And so if you can use videos to walk through, to show the screen and walk through what it is you want the students to do, it really can decrease the amount of confusion in your course. And I'll show you an example of one of those in just a second as well. It also provides for learner differences. And so just two examples of how videos can provide for learner differences include playback speed and captions. So in terms of playback speed, in one of my courses that I teach, it starts on a Tuesday every week, and I usually post overview video of what we're doing that week, just about 3 minutes long, sometimes up to 5 minutes long on Mondays. And so on Saturday, I had an email from a student and said, "Hey, Dr. Hudson, I'm just wondering if you're going to post a video this week." And I was like, "Yeah, but you know, I probably won't do it until Monday." And he's like, "Okay, well, I just don't even look at the module until I listen and watch your video first." And I was like, "Oh," and so I wrote back and I said, "Oh, thanks so much. I hope they're not too long. I try to keep them under 5 minutes." And he wrote back, "Oh, no problem. I put you on 2 times speed, and then I just listen real quickly." Now, you might notice that I talk very quickly to start with. I listened to myself on 2 times speed and I couldn't understand a word I was saying. So, you know, if that helped him, that's great. It also works the other way though, in terms of playback speed for people who may talk very quickly or students who have a little bit slower processing speed, they can also reduce the speed of the playback. So that's probably a better example of how it can make it accessible for students. So you might be thinking, okay, but what are some practical uses of video in my courses? I don't know if you're like me, but I only like things that are practical. So what I'd like to do now is show you an example to start us off with. This is an example of a video that I created right after COVID-19 when we were moving to online. We had spring break. We were giving an additional week of spring break because of where the timing fell. And I knew that the students in my class would really be wondering, like, okay, where's Dr. Hudson? What's going on? And so I just wanted to send them just a quick note to let them know that I was thinking about them. So I'm going to show you, this is the video exactly how I sent it. And it was just to touch base with them and let them know that everything was okay.
Hi, everyone. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying, if that's possible, this 1 week of extended spring break. I just wanted to touch base and let you know that I'm here working on your classes and getting things ready as we continue next week. You will be getting more information via IW email from Iowa Wesleyan. And so I just wanted you to know that all is well, and we're going to make sure that your learning continues. I know you have a lot of questions, and if I have those answers, I'll answer them. And if not, I'll be sure to find those out. So if you need me, please feel free to email me. It's shudson@iw.edu. And also, I have a new office. I'm now on the 2nd floor in the library right across from the elevator. So if you happen to be on campus, please stop by and see me. If I'm not here, you can email me. We can also do Google Hangouts or anything else that you'd like. So I just wanted to touch base and let you know that everything is well on my end. And I'm looking forward to working with you again, and just keep checking your email because more information will be coming. And I just wanted to say hi. Take care.
Okay, so again, that's just a short example of one way that I use videos. I don't remember, I think, let's see here. Okay, so 1 minute and 10 seconds is how long that video was, and it was completely unedited. It was exactly the way that I sent it to my students. They could view it on any device, their phone, whatever it was that they happened to have. So talking about being practical, how do I use, what types of videos do I use? I sort of think about videos in two categories. Type 1, quick and general, or type 2, longer and targeted. I'm going to start with type 2 and let you know that when I say longer, I mean at best, maybe 6 minutes, maybe 7 if I'm really pushing it, but these are meant to be very short clips. Research tells us that people just don't listen longer than that, even if they put it on 2 times speed, and that we really have to chunk what we're doing. So one way that I use videos, this type 2 way, the longer and targeted, is maybe if I need to explain a concept or a skill. Maybe if I'm going to lecture, but it would be abbreviated. If I typically do a 45-minute lecture, that would probably be split into 8 chunks that I would have them watch, maybe 2 every day, something along that line. A demonstration, if I needed to show them like a specific reading technique, perhaps how to segment words, I might do that in about a 3 to 5 minute video. But 2 of my favorite are the overview of learning and the summary of learning. Each week in my online classes, I could do this in my hybrid and my face-to-face if I wanted. I do a short, maybe 3-minute clip on an overview of learning, showing them, telling them what's coming up, walking them around the Canvas site for that module. And then at the end, I do a summary of learning. Here's what we should have learned. Here were the key ideas and so on. Students really like those. Now, quick and general ways, if I have an announcement on Canvas, that's what we use, but it would work with any LMS. I tend to do an audio announcement. Sometimes I show my face, sometimes I don't. What I'm going to show you has the ability to do either one. Sometimes if students need a reminder, hey, you know, those projects are coming up. I only have 2 turned in so far. Remember, you can reach me on these days in this way. And there are also, I'm going to go to this screen and show you what you might look at if you're confused. I'll do a quick, maybe 1-minute reminder. Encouragement, sort of like the video clip that I just showed you where I was just reaching out and encouraging students, we're okay, we're in this together, I'm fine, you can tell I'm happy, and I think that really helps a lot. If I need to explain an assignment, I have a video of that. I think it's on the next slide and I'll show you that. Individual assistance, sometimes I'll have a student or more than one student who becomes confused and I need to give them some assistance on where to find something on Canvas or within the documents that I'm sharing, and I can very quickly make a screencast and send that. So I give feedback on student work and they love it, where I'll walk through their paper and I'll just screencast the entire thing, giving them feedback, and they like that. And then also if I have an assignment and after it's been turned in, I see common errors or patterns of thinking, I might do a screencast and say, okay, I just wanted to go over that last assignment. Here are some things that everyone misunderstood and that was surely my fault. And here's what I want you to understand from that. So, here's an example of assignment instructions. This was for a student who was in a face-to-face class of mine, but she was absent due to an extended illness. This is just a partial part of the video clip that I sent her, but I want you to think about how difficult this would have been for me to try to email this or even try to talk on the phone about the assignment. I really still wanted her to have experience with this website that we had looked at in class and with the activity that we had done. And so I was able to send her a screencast. Again, this is just part of the video clip.
Hi, Jill. So for this last assignment, I want you to go to this website, readwritethink.org. I'm guessing you've been there before. I really like it. I'm hoping maybe you haven't had a lot of experience with their student interactives. I've found them to be really great. So for instance, they have featured ones, which you can see here, or they have the most popular ones, and or you can search over here. So for instance, you know, some of the ones that say K5, I've found that I can use with older students, but I'm just going to look at the story map one here for grades K-12. And what you'll notice is it's actually an interactive. So when you hit get started, it will pull up, and usually you need Flash to be able to do it. So you'll just have them, you know, type in a title of some kind. I'm just doing this so you can see what it's like. And then if you were having the students work on something, let's say that it was a character map, then it's something that they actually fill out, and then like what's the character look like. And so I'm just going to put in, you know, very minimal responses. Anyway, you can go all the way through. You can print, you can edit it. It has all different types of maps if you're writing a story, multiple other ones as well.
Right. And so then I went on and showed her some other examples. And so I find this really useful when students, especially in an online setting, when you want to show them something, and if you tried to write out, go to this website, then click here, then click here, a screencast can just make it such an easier experience. And then they can go back, they can pause it and follow along and open up another browser. You'll also notice that I stumbled over my words in this video. I picked this one on purpose. I stumble over my words a lot, but I picked this one on purpose because I don't redo my videos. You know, in class, if I'm teaching in front of the class and I stumble over my words, I just fix it and move on. If I make a mistake and take them to the wrong website, I just say, oh, that wasn't the right website. And so in my videos, I do not make them perfect. I release myself from that stress of trying to do that. And I wanted you to see that just like teaching in a class, teaching online, you're not perfect, and the students know that. And I really don't think that it's an issue. So here's an example, the last clip that I'm going to show you before we get to essential question 3, how in the world do I make them shareable and viewable, which is really important. This is an example of an overview. And remember I said this is one of my favorite things to do. Every week I give an overview of what they're going to be learning and then a summary at the end. And so this is an example. This is just a partial video clip as well. And you'll see in this one, I've embedded myself in the corner. I can make it, I've showed you 3 different examples, all me talking, the one where you don't see me at all, you just see my screen, and then this one where you see my screen and you see me talking. And it just depends on what I'm trying to do, the class, the students, and so on, which one of those that I pick. And you can do any of those very easily.
Hi, welcome to week 4. This week we're going to talk about teacher leadership model standards. I think you'll find them very interesting and perhaps a little bit overwhelming. Basically, standards outline for teacher leaders the skills that they need in order to be successful. So what you're going to do is we'll continue to look at this document. I think pages 16 and 17, and then the remainder will be useful for you. And then I have 2 documents here about the model standards. You might want to start here with the abbreviated version first, just to sort of get your bearings a little bit. So if you click on the abbreviated version, it should take you right to the different domains. And so the domains then are the main standard, and then it tells what the teacher leader does, and then it tells like substandards underneath. And I believe there are 7, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, 7 domains, with the last one being advocating. And I know that early in the course we talked a lot about advocating, so I thought that would be of interest to you. Once you've sort of gotten your bearings about that, then you can go to this document, which is the actual standards, how they were developed, and lots of information. So when you pull up the PDF, it is 60 pages long, but don't worry. When you start going through it, the table of contents will help. But it's sort of interesting.
All right, and so that's just an overview. Those tend to be around 4 to 5 minutes long. I try to always keep them under 5 minutes. And you can see how that really adds a personal factor. It's like I'm there with them. They have an idea of what's coming, and I found that students really appreciate those a lot. So now the last essential question I want to talk about today is how can I make videos that are shareable and viewable? There is nothing worse than making a video and then you try to send it maybe via email or over Facebook or whatever it is, and it says the file is too large. That just stops people in their tracks. Or when you send something and the students say, I can't view it. It won't play or there's no sound. You know, there are lots and lots of ways to make videos exactly like what I'm showing you today. I could make an entire list of different applications and software that you could use. But I chose today just to share with you the one that I use. It doesn't mean it's the best necessarily, but I've found for the wide range of users, it's really good. And it's also good for my students. Eventually, they learn how to use screencasts and they start submitting their weekly discussion posts via screencasts. And everyone loves it because then you get to see each other and they find it very, very easy to do. So the one that I choose to use is called Screencastify. It's both free and a premium version, and I'm going to show you that in a second. And Screencastify can do everything that I need it to do. It can capture your tab, a whole screen, or your webcam only. It can embed your webcam anywhere in your recording, so if you want to move it around, you can. You can narrate with your microphone. You can record offline, and you don't need internet required. Now, of course, to send it, you'll need internet, but to record, you don't. They auto-save, so I've only once ever deleted one Screencastify that I did not mean to delete. I recorded an entire study session of an hour and a half for a student who was ill. And then when I went to send it, there's a trash can and I hit the trash can. I still don't know why to this day I did that. So, I mean, you have to be pretty obvious if you're trying to delete it, which I managed to do just one time. You can instantly share it with a Google Drive link. You can upload directly to YouTube. You don't have to do anything extra, or you can export it in several different ways. So here is the link to screencastify.com. And you'll see when, if you type that link in, there'll be a place to install the extension. If you're looking here on my screen, right here, this arrow is my Screencastify. You can see I've already installed it. And so it's as simple as, if I click here, you'll see I can be recording. I won't, but I could be within like 3 seconds. I just pick which of these do I want? Do I want my microphone? Do I want my webcam? You can test them to make sure they're working and then hit record. It is that simple. If I want to go back to my recordings, I go right here and all of my recordings are kept on my Google Drive. If you're not a Google person, I've worked a lot with Microsoft as well. I usually have a Screencastify. I usually use the free account for that, and I can keep that, and I only have that Google Drive just for my Screencastify videos, and they embed perfectly into Microsoft and into the Outlook email and so on as well. So if you're like, okay, but like I would need to be walked through how to make a screencast. One of the reasons I like Screencastify is because of the courses that they offer. And when I say course, I don't mean like a 3-hour course. I mean like just short videos that walk you through and they're up to date. So the first one that I want to click on is to show you the 3 options. When you go to screencastify.com /courses, there's the Master the Screencast, and I'm going to take you in and have you look at that one. That's 60 minutes in length if you chose to do all of it. By that, you would really be a master screencaster. There's this one, which is if you really want to go in depth in marrying your Google Apps to it, or there's this one, which is only 10 minutes. And honestly, I would start with that. If you don't have a lot of time, I would start with Master the Screencast Junior. It's made for students. I actually give my college students the option of looking at this one or this one, and a lot of them pick the 10-minute one, even though it's meant for younger students, because it gives you just the basics of how to make a screencast. So if we go here into the what's considered a 1-hour course, Master the Screencast, you do have to sign up for it. It is free. It tells you what you'll learn here. 4 videos, 6 minutes, 4 videos, 18 minutes. So I'm going to take you in, this is my account, and I'm going to take you in and show you the quality of the videos. And so I want to go here just to the quick introduction, but you might skip all this and go just to record your first video. If you're like, no, I don't even know how to get the arrow up here in the bookmark browser bar, right here is install the Screencastify. It will walk you through exactly how to do it. So I'm going to go here to this quick introduction.
So excited.
I'm going to start this over and I'm going to show you what the videos are like.
Hey, it's Net from Screencastify. I'm so excited to be your guide through this 1-hour course called Master the Screencast. You may have already noticed that Screencastify is incredibly easy to use.
of our time to talk about how to use the extension to connect with the people who matter, whether that's your students, their parents, or your colleagues in your building or throughout the entire world. Screencasting is incredibly powerful because it's rewatchable, visual, and personal. As we progress through the course, you may notice that there are additional resources available below the videos. These resources consist of blog posts, videos, and tutorials created by our team, as well as inspiring educators who are using the extension in innovative ways. Remember, as we progress through this course, it's entirely self-paced, so feel free to consume the videos at whatever pace feels comfortable to you. Pause, and we'll be here to continue our learning. In the next section, we'll talk about using the extension to create, edit, and share videos. If you're already pretty comfortable using the Screencastify extension and editor, feel free to completely skip the first segment and join us for segment 3, where we'll talk about using Screencastify to connect with students. But if you're new to the extension, or if you'd just like a quick refresh, feel free to join us for the very first video, where we'll go through installing the extension.
Okay, and so the last thing that I wanted to look at before we open it up for questions is pricing. Please know that I'm in no way affiliated with Screencastify. I don't work for them. They do not pay me anything. This is just really something that I have found that works wonderfully for me. I do use the free version, but our university has the paid version as well, but there are paid versions for individuals. So I'm going to see. Let me move this down here. If I can real quickly put on the, hang on just a second. The cost here, if we go to pricing, go to show educator discount. So the free, but then there's also the unlimited for $29 a person. And the main difference is the amount of editing that you can do and the length. So the free will only allow you to go to 5 minutes. I have, when I only used the free though, did 5 minutes, made one video and then did another 5-minute video, and the students just watched them. Like we said, you don't want your videos to be very long anyway. And then the amount of editing that you can do. But you can edit with the free. You can trim your videos, and that's very helpful. So honestly, I find the free to be quite sufficient for what most people need, but the premium is also very nice. So I'm going to click out of these, and I think we're now going to open it up for questions. Got questions? I think I have answers.
Thank you, Dr. Hudson. We did get quite a few questions. So starting out, what student feedback have you received from this?
Okay, lots. So I teach both undergraduate and graduate students. I also work with teachers across the state of Iowa. And so early on, what I call early adopters wanted to know what it was and how could they learn as well. Once COVID-19 hit, everyone wanted to know, how did you do that? How can I do it? Especially the teachers who were working with pre-K-12. Just this last, I would say in April, I started having students learn how to screencast themselves. It was no longer optional. Before, I would say, if you want to screencast, you can. Here's some videos to learn how. If you don't want to, just do a regular post. I started making it required, providing support for them. And after they did it, they loved it. In my graduate classes, most of them ask, I want to know how to do that, and is it free? And so when I can tell them there is a free option, they really appreciate that.
Very good. The next question, how do you provide these videos to your students? I know that you showed some Canvas, but are there other options?
Oh, absolutely. I think it might be easiest if I just go real fast here. Trying to think how I could do this to show everyone is so easy. Let me think here for just a second. I would go into my recordings, but I'm scared I might show some identifiable information for students. So I'm trying to think. if I can show it. If not, I'll just talk through it. I bet if I go here, I bet we won't watch the video, but I bet there's a video that I can forward through and show. I don't think it's going to load. It was quite large. I'll see if it's going to load, but I'll just try to answer it. So on Screencastify, once you've recorded a video, it immediately pops up, and off to the right, it will give you options. Share a direct link, share via Google Classroom, upload to YouTube. Once you do it, it gives you a link. So all you do is copy the link, or export in those different formats. And it is literally as easy as click, click, click. Let's say that later, let's say a student, their internet goes down, they don't have access to anything. They can only get internet through their personal email on their phone. I can just grab that recording from my recordings and I can just email it to them. So if any way that you can send something, you can send a Screencastify link. The only way that a student won't be able to read it for real or view it, not read it, is people who have multiple email accounts. If you've shared it with one account, but then they go in and try to open it with another one, it doesn't recognize who it is. But that doesn't happen very often. And you know, usually if students will use their school email only or just the email they gave you, then you don't have that issue. If they say, it says that I'm not able to view it, that's the first thing I ask, what email are you using? Like if I've emailed it to them. But on a link in a class or on a website, they just go right to it. It is that easy.
Very good. Now, another question, do you monitor if your students are viewing these videos?
I do. I don't have to, but I do. And you can do that in a couple of ways. The way that I like best is I upload them to YouTube. At first, I was like, I don't want a YouTube channel. Well, I realized I could make it private and then no one sees it except for my class. And there's a link to directly link to YouTube. I upload it to YouTube and then it says copy the link and I can send that to them. I can embed it in my Canvas. I can do anything I want. But I do that because that will create automatic captions. There are other ways to do captions, but it creates automatic captions and it gives me a viewing so I can see how many students viewed it. Now, if some student is viewing it 20 times, that does skew your results because it doesn't give you independent viewing. It just gives you total number. But there have been a couple of times when I've done something and students have had lots of questions and I'm like, what is going on? And I'll get on and only 2 people have viewed it. And I'll just send a quick little reminder. Hey guys, I think you missed this. Look, it's right here. This will answer all your questions. And then I just see the numbers rise, you know, because everybody needs a little reminder once in a while.
Absolutely. Another question, what do you do if the concept takes more time to explain?
I know. You know, and I've been working with the math department some in terms of their lectures, which sometimes are 90 minutes long. You know, if it can be chunked, I would chunk it. If not, you know, I recorded an 1.5-hour study session once, right? And then deleted it. But, you know, I did record that once and, you know, the student wanted to watch it. So I don't think there's a set rule that you can't do longer. Just know that you're probably going to lose your students if it's too long. Even with the 2 times playback speed, you know, it's really more effective when they're short, but the premium version will allow you to go over 5 minutes. The free version will not. You'd have to do multiple, you know, and put one each day if you're doing an online class over 5 days or however that might be.
Very good. A couple of questions regarding using Canvas and other LMS systems in order to provide the videos. One instructor mentioned that Canvas has a limited storage capacity. How do you handle this?
I've not run into that issue. The videos are actually stored on your Screencastify as part of your Google Drive. I do not know if that's the difference, but I've run multiple courses, and I'm going to say easily 3 to 5 videos per week. Now, because I love them so much, I have to be careful that I don't go overboard and send a video for everything, because then that defeats the purpose as well. But I for sure do a up to 5 minute introduction, an up to 5 minute summary, and then an announcement or two of maybe a minute or two for 8 to 16 weeks. And I've never had the issue in terms of storage. So I don't know if it's because it's stored as part of your Screencastify or because it's uploaded to YouTube sometimes. I'm sorry, I can't answer that in any more depth.
Okay. Another one related to Canvas specifically, an instructor asked what tabs you utilize most frequently for videos in Canvas.
Okay, ask that again.
What tabs do you utilize most frequently for videos in Canvas?
Okay, I think they're asking one of two things, and I'll just answer both since I'm not sure. I think they mean like announcements, modules, assignments, so on. Announcements is what I do. I do one announcement a week, and it's my overview. And then if I have to make another announcement, I put it in the announcement part. But then I put most of my videos in the assignment. So whatever assignment I've created, I just embed. When you open up on Canvas, the create an assignment, and maybe you're going to type something in, there's something that says embed. There's also a video icon. You can do either one, but I like the embed better because all I have to do is click and it makes it nice and pretty on the page. And so I think that's what they're asking. Either over to the side, I use announcements or assignments, or within the assignment box, I use the one that says embed, although I could use the one that says video. I could use the one that says link if I wanted to, and just link my Google or my YouTube address as well.
Wonderful, thank you. I got a couple of questions about captioning the videos. I know that you mentioned this just a little bit ago, and that's why I believe you said why you do it to YouTube or link it to YouTube. Does Screencastify automatically do captioning? Okay.
No. And so I've actually investigated other programs and other extensions that some have the option of captions, but there have been, for me personally, drawbacks that were not worth it. So I'm going to tell you the 2 ways. And if anyone discovers another way, my contact information is here, and I'm happy to brainstorm and work with people and assist and so on. I can always send you a screencast if there's something you're confused on. If you find another way, I would love for you to share it with me. But I think there are 2 ways. Number one, you upload it to YouTube. It's not perfect, but it is considered accessible in terms of what we need to do for students. The second way is when I do a screencast, and so I go up, I'm using my pointer now, and I go up here and I click, and I'm going to, pick whatever I want to do, and I hit record. Before I do that, I open up in the background a Google Doc. And when I have my Google Doc open, I go to Tools, and there's something called Voice Type. And I click the red microphone that shows up on a blank document. And then I hit record, and I talk. And it records everything I'm saying in a document on a Google Doc. When I'm done recording, I go to my Google Doc, I make a few edits. When you talk as fast as I do, it does pick up just a few errors. People who speak slower would not have the issues I do. Then you go in and you edit it, and you have a script that then you can upload. Now, it won't caption along the video. Only YouTube will do that as far as I know for Screencastify, but it is a script, a transcript that they can read as well. Those are the 2 best options that don't take really any time that I have found.
Thank you. I also got a couple of questions comparing Screencastify to other programs that may be similar, things like Screencast-O-Matic, Loom, Zoom. Do you know anything about the other ones and the major differences maybe?
I've used them all, and I like I don't want to say anything bad about any of them because I think that you can do what I'm doing here with any of them. The features of Screencastify that I have found most usable are the free version, gives you quite a few bells and whistles that the other ones tend not to. It is easily viewable across all platforms without any kind of a login. And Zoom, I do use Zoom for recordings of courses, like if I'm maybe holding a meeting and students can attend if they want, and then I'll send them that link for Zoom. That's fine. It's just with Screencastify, I can make short, fast videos very, very easily. And that's, I think, the biggest key for me. In terms of like minute differences, you know, I think they can all get the job done. This one is just very easy, very accessible, and they have the training courses ready to go if you really want to get in depth with it.
Thank you. Now, as far as having students use this, a couple of questions regarding that. First, how do you handle the students who don't want to post or may be shy or embarrassed?
Sure. So you don't have to show your face. You can just do an audio. I never force anyone to do anything. I introduce students doing it later in the course. First, it's optional, and so I provide a lot of support. Once I really know the students and I'm confident that they can all do it, in some of my classes, I do require it. But I always say, now, if this really concerns you or you're very, worried about technology, let's set up a time together and we'll go through some of these links on the Screencastify course together. Just saying that alone, I rarely have anyone who needs it, and you should see their first videos. If I'd thought ahead, I would have shared one and gotten permission. They're like, am I doing this? Am I really doing this? And then, it'll click off and they'll come back. They're like, I can't believe I can do this. This is amazing. And it's really nice.
Now, what do you do for students who may have trouble uploading their videos?
Okay, so there is no trouble uploading the video. The only time you would have trouble, and it did happen this spring during COVID-19, when everybody was working at home off of cellular data or real spotty data, what will happen is the video, the red line when you're uploading over here, I can't show you without maybe showing you personal information here, but there'll be a red line when it's uploading. It should just go zip and it's ready to share. When that red line crawls across the screen, it's an issue with the speed of the internet. And if you leave it, it will eventually upload. That's also why you don't want to make 30 and 40-minute videos, because the shorter it is, the easier it will upload. I suppose if you have a student who has no internet access or it's extremely slow, then doing the audio only versus the video, that would take less bandwidth, or it just may simply not be an option for that 1, 2, or 5 students. But it certainly can be an option for you as the professor to increase your presence and to explain things. Having the students do it, that's great, but that wouldn't keep you yourself from doing it.
Another question about to Canvas and other LMS systems. The first one, have you ever used Nomia that's already linked to Canvas? I'm not familiar, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
How do you spell it?
It's Knowmia, and then in parentheses, the instructor has text relay. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Text to speech, is that? TextSmith Relay is what the instructor had put. That's already in Canvas or linked to Canvas.
No, but I wonder if that person is trying to say that's another one in addition to my 2 ideas that could work for the captioning. Maybe if that person is still listening, if they wanted to email me, if that's what they're saying, I have not used that, and I would be thrilled to be able to share with others another option.
Absolutely.
Oh, I haven't, sorry.
Do you know if there's a whiteboard within Screencastify?
Yes, I didn't show any of that today. I'll just go here real fast and see if I can find here. There, let's see here. There are all of the regular things that you can do, like, you know, making your pointer bigger. Let me see if it goes here. Sorry, I have a bit of a delay here. Okay. Let's see if it'll. Okay. It does. There's a set of tools that you can use when you are going through your videos. What I don't know is on the free version, if those tools are available, only because I don't remember, because I use the premium all the time now. I don't remember if those tools are included in the free version or not. But yes, they do have all of those tools that you would use with a typical whiteboard.
Wonderful. And then as far as other assignments, I assume that you probably do other things other than just videos. Can you talk a little bit about what other assignments you may include?
Oh, sure. And, you know, I had to, you know, there's always a fine line, right? When you get really excited about something. And I'm sure there was a semester when I went a little crazy and used way too many videos and just thought everybody should be as excited as I am. I think I've come back to the middle a little bit now, where I've found for me what really works. But I would say that the majority of my assignments don't have anything to do with Screencastify or Screencast or videos, to be really honest. You know, on the discussion boards early on, I allow it to be an option. Toward the end, depending on the course, usually they'll have one post that's a screencast. And just so you know, if they don't want to use Screencastify, I say you can use whatever you want, but I will only provide support through Screencastify, because if not, I spend way too much time trying to figure out all of the different technicalities of the different types, but I'll let them use any type of extension or recording that they want. And then one of the discussion posts is usually just a typical discussion post, but I also use things like Canva, which is kind of an art creativity type, where they will demonstrate visually the learning. I also do readings, just typical readings and writing type assignments. I have them go to websites, and I've have some that I've developed or I've found where they have questions, like Ed Puzzle is one where I can add in questions as they go through the different video clips that I've put together and reflect on what they've learned. I use Kahoots and Quizlets and things like that as well. So I would say this is actually just a really small part of what I do, but I find it really foundational in terms of connecting with my students and making the courses equitable and accessible for students.
Wonderful. A couple of questions in regards to FERPA laws. Does Screencastify have access to your roster if it's embedded in Canvas or other LMS systems?
No, not that I know of. I'm in control of my recordings, which is why here I want to show everybody things that people are asking, but I can't, because if I hit right here my recordings, there likely will be student work that pops up. So, but those students shared those with me. My Screencastify didn't go into their documents of any kind. And my things that I create in no way link to theirs unless they choose to download, you know, if they, just like a document, if they would download it and put it in something of theirs. But I'm not aware of any crossover between people or any connectivity with my class roster or anything like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think there's anything like that.
Thank you. Are the videos stored to Google Drive or on the own servers of Screencastify? Do you know?
Okay, I believe that it's stored on your Google Drive. The reason I'm hesitating though is because I've surely created enough videos that I would have run out of space on my personal one by now, and I haven't. So I'm sort of questioning where those actually are. I believe though, when you're reading that it says that they're stored on your Google Drive, I just can't figure out how on my personal one, why I haven't used all of my space yet. I have it like I have 2 children and they play piano. And during COVID-19, they used Screencastify to record their pieces and send them to their piano teacher. And so that's why I also have it on my personal. It was just the free version. So I was like, nothing longer than 5 minutes.
Thank you. Is there a daily limit on the number of videos that you can make?
Definitely not on the premium. I'm not aware of one. If there is on the free, I know in some programs there is a daily or a monthly limit. I'm sorry that I don't remember. This summer I did use the free version for another reason. And I know I made a couple a day for different things. But I'm sorry, on the premium, there's not. On the free, I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you. Another question, are you finding where you could reuse videos from semester to semester?
Yes, definitely. For sure, especially if because I've now found what I think is the sweet spot, that overview of learning, the summary of learning, and an announcement or so. The overview and the summary, I am finding where half of the time I can reuse those, or because I have the premium version, I can go in and edit out things and I'm like, oh, we didn't talk about that. And I can edit that out. But honestly, I almost find it faster and a little bit more personal just to continue to make them. But it depends on the course. But yes, I can reuse those, especially if it's like a demonstration or an explanation of something and it hasn't changed. That would be very easy to reuse.
Wonderful. And then I'll let this be the last question. We did get a lot of questions, and we can help get some of these answered afterwards and send follow-up information. As far as accessing on various laptops, tablets, do you know is completely accessible for everyone or for free?
Okay, I think I cut up or you did just a little bit. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know if it's accessible through tablets, iPhone, phones, everything?
Everything. And they don't,
okay.
My understanding is they don't even have to have a Google account to access it. So
okay.
Now to make it, they would, but they don't even have to have their own Google account. It's just a link. And if you can click a link, you can open it and it will play, and it will play correctly unless you're having major connectivity problems.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate your time, Hannah. I'll let you go.
All right. Well, yes, thank you, Dr. Hudson. And thank you everyone for attending today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to direct them to us at marketing@hawkslearning.com, or you can direct them straight to Dr. Hudson via her email that she showed previously. And we will definitely be emailing you with a link to view this webinar on demand. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.